Your Shrikant. I'm assuming, okay? So let's start. So good afternoon everyone. Today we'll see what is a load balancer and how it works and why should we use it and what's the need of it and so on and so forth. So I would be talking more in scenario basis in the interest of everybody. If people who already knows this concept, please bear with me. Okay, so I'll come with a scenario wherein I have developed an application. Let's say I've developed an algorithm which is called XYZ, and I've told it to, let's say, Shrikant to about my algorithm and he wants to use it. So what I did was, I started hosting this on a server, and then I told Shrikant to use over some IP address. Let's put it as some host name like xyz.com. So now here is Shrikant, and he comes over the internet and types this XYZ in his browser and tries to use this, and it was working well and good. Now what happened, Shrikant suggested his entire team to use my algorithm. So what happened was, there are many requests that were coming over the internet to use my algorithm. So what happened was, my system became little slow, my server became little slow, which in turn its responsiveness has got lost. So let me make a point of these things. Responsive. So then I felt like that's okay, until unless it's working, it's good even if it's responding slow. So now what happened is, entire team members suggested the entire ServiceNow employees to use my algorithm, and then what happened, there were many concurrent requests that were coming to my server to use my algorithm. So what happened is, my server got now completely down because it couldn't take the load anymore. It couldn't take the traffic that's coming towards it. So now I felt like I should add more servers to it. I should add more load to it. I mean to say more computational power to the server. So I started adding, let's say, it was having some 10 GB of RAM, maybe I started adding 40 GB of RAM to it, and CPU capacity also I increased. Then it is responding little bit slow, and it was every now and then still going down. So then I felt like maybe this thing, whatever we are doing here, adding more computational power, we call it as vertical scaling. And then I just got to know that vertical scaling is not working and there is a limit. However, we could increase the capacity computational power to any computer. So what I thought was, then I felt like I should go with more servers instead of one server. So instead of one server, I just took one more server, and I have another server. So in these both servers, my algorithm is being hosted. Let's take one more server as well. So now comes the point, now Shrikant's trying to access, should I send to this server or this server or this server? Like, which one should I send? And that's where the point, the load balancer comes into the picture. So what I do is, I put a load balancer in between. So everyone outside the network talks to this load balancer, and in turn this load balancer routes the request to any of these servers based on certain conditions, like maybe the performance or the connections that each server has, or maybe the algorithm that it is using. There are different algorithm load balancer uses to route the request to different servers, and those such algorithms are round robin and like weighted round robin and less connection pool and less response time. There are many algorithms. Let's not go deep into them. Let's see now how this actually works. So let's take a neat diagram.
So have you put all those algorithms on those different servers, or you have put the algorithm at one place and you are going, or you are using that algorithm using these three servers, the same algorithm?
No, that's my algorithm. This is my load balancer. So this is where the algorithm lies.
Acha, it lies in the load balancer.
It lies in the load balancer, and it is its duty to, whatever the request that is coming, to route that request to any of these servers. So how it routes is based on this algorithm.
Okay.
And there are many other constraints which it takes into consideration to route to. I'll talk more about them in the sooner session, more or less time. I don't know, whatever. So let's see how this works. So let's say someone is asking, let's say Vivek is asking for my algorithm to be used by him. So the request comes to him. Let's say Vivek has some IP address like 222, and let's say 111. And now he's asking this load balancer, which has a virtual IP. Let's say that IP has 222, and let's say 112. So now this outside world only knows this particular IP, and they talk to this IP. Now here what happens is, this load balancer has a list of all the servers that are there in the connection pool, and each may be having 113 and 114 and 115.
Some IP range.
Yeah, no, this is same 222, 220. Let's take like that.
Okay.
Just for an example, like saying x dot y dot z 222 like that. Okay. So now this. Now Vivek sent a request with his IP address. Now this load balancer checks the request, and based on an algorithm, and before checking for the algorithm, it also checks for the health. So health checks are also possible, which are before sending any request to any of these servers, it checks if that server is alive or not. It basically checks if this server is alive or not, if this server is alive or not, if this server is alive or not. If only it will be there in the server list of that particular load balancer. Otherwise, that will be removed, and no more request goes to that particular dead server, and there will be no delay in response times. So let's say now it has a list of servers, and with health monitor it has all the servers up here. So here it goes to one particular server. What it does is, internally it translates this. Here network address translation is what happens, because it changes the IP address of the source with the IP address of this load balancer, and goes to this server. Oh, sorry, I told it wrong. Okay. So what happens is, as soon as Vivek is trying to access this load, asking for this load balancer about my algorithm. So what it does is, the network address translator, it basically changes the destination IP, because when you were sending the request, the destination IP was this load balancer IP. So now it changes the destination IP to the server it is routing to. So that particular request goes to that particular server. Let's say if it routed to 113, if the network address translation of the destination server got changed to 113, then here it goes, and this response comes back here, and here also again this server sends the response with source address as that server IP
Which is requested.
no source is this now, it's a response. In this case this is the source,
Yeah.
but it's coming in this way. Now it is the source,
Okay.
and this is the destination.
Destination. Okay.
So now we have to send this request back to this client. So for me to do that, I need to change the destination address, which
Okay.
load balancer right now has as this one, right?
Yeah.
This request has, if you see, this source is this server IP, destination is this load balancer IP.
Okay.
So now I need to send this request to the client. So now I'll change this destination IP to this client IP. So this is again the network address translation that happens, and then this load balancer routes this that particular response back to the client. Okay, and what in between happens is it checks for health. As I said, it checks for health monitors as well. If any of the server is down, it doesn't route to that. And cut it, stop the video.